Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. It's Bob speaking. And as you can see, I'm wearing one of my favorite hats today. It's actually an Amazon bestseller, believe it or not. And I'm wearing it to celebrate, if you like, the announcement by Castro's bastard, Justin Trudeau, that he's going to step down as the leader of Canada's Liberal Party and as Prime Minister when they've got themselves organised for a replacement. So a little bit of very good news. I'm happy about that. So I'm going to take this hat off now, though. And we're going to talk some heavyweight boxing. So yesterday when I was out on the tractor moving snow, a job I've got to do again today. Excuse me. Grab some coffee. That's better. So I was out moving snow and I was listening to a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and I can't even tell you which channel sometimes, they were just on repeat. But a lot of people were talking about Fury and AJ and whether they'd fight and all that sort of stuff. And as I've said on a video before, while the fight is sort of a bit past its sort of sell-by dates, if you ask me, it is nevertheless something that I would like to see. I'm a bit of a kind of a sports stats nerd, I guess, and also from a historical perspective, right? Who's going to be, viewed as the best British boxer, the best British heavyweight boxer, between sort of certain years. There's no doubt that, at least in my mind, Usyk is the top of the pile. He's beaten both these guys twice. But it remains to be seen who out of Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua is better. So from that perspective, I hope they get the fight on. But if they don't, here's the thing. You're going to have groups, fans, I think the term in some cases is fanboys, who are going to be saying, well, my guy would have won. No, my guy would have won. And I suspect in sports bars up and down the country, that'll be a topic of conversation. I can imagine it leading to fisticuffs in some cases. The ways that some fans are these days. Anyhow, if they fight, I'll be really pleased. I'll watch it, and then we'll be able to say, draw a line under it. Okay, Fury was better or AJ was better. I don't really have a dog in this fight. I prefer AJ, but that's mostly because of his behavior outside the ring versus Fury's behavior outside the ring. So anyhow, one of the good things, to be honest, about living thousands of miles away from where these guys live and where they fight, or I guess they fight in Riyadh now, but anyways, living thousands of miles away from the UK means that I'm not sort of so emotional about either. And as I've said in a previous video, the way I like to sort of look at fighters is based on their resume or CV, if you like. So if these guys don't fight each other, let's say they walked away today, which, I know AJ has said, hey, look, I want to fight. I want to get my title back or a title back. And he's called out Fury by name. But Fury hasn't said anything. I suspect over the last, couple of weeks, Fury has been sort of licking his wounds from the Usyk defeat. And, I think the term is he might have been on the piss. But anyhow, whatever. He's probably relaxing. He hasn't said anything about wanting to come back and fight anybody. He's just, disappeared for a moment. And that's fine. I mean, the guy's entitled to have a nice Christmas and New Year's break. But if they don't fight, what do we have to go on? And I've always said, let's look at where they stand today. Let's just draw a line under. Let's pretend that they don't fight anybody else. So what have we got? And I'll start with Fury. I wrote some notes down just to keep the figures straight in my mind, to be honest with you. I had a look at BoxRec the other day just to make sure that I sort of knew what I was going to talk about. Fury had, excuse me, Fury had 25 amateur bouts, and he's got 37 professional bouts. And AJ had 47 amateur bouts, and he's got 32 professional bouts. Now, I like to, of course, we all talk about their losses, but I also like to talk about like who did a person beat, whose names are on your record and whose names were on the person you beat's record, that kind of thing. I think that leads to just a better way of assessing somebody. It's like, in a previous career, I used to be involved in hiring people. And generally speaking, if, you look at a cover letter that says, I'm shit hot, I'm the best person that's, you can possibly hire for this job, and I'm the greatest person you're ever going to hire, that's of limited use. Whereas a good solid resume that shows education, experience, progressively more senior jobs, etc., often a better indicator. So, any more waffling? Let's have a look at Fury's 25 amateur bouts. I couldn't see any names that leapt out at me other than Michael Hunter. As we know, Fury did not go to the Olympics. So we don't really have, too much to say about his amateur career. He did, however, have 5 losses in that amateur career. So, interesting. Let's have a quick look at AJ's amateur career, with a caveat, of course. I know that amateur boxing and pro boxing are really different beasts, right? So just let's have a look at it. So AJ had 47 bouts as an amateur, like I said. He had 3 losses, one of which was to Dillian White. Names that he beat as an amateur. He beat Fraser Clark, who went on to have a good amateur career. And as, maybe not so successful as professional. But anyways. He beat Otto Wallin. He beat Joe Joyce. And he beat Zhilei Zhang. And of course, in 2012 in London, he won the Olympic gold medal. So as an amateur, comparing like to like, you'd have to say that AJ has got a better amateur career. Certainly more names and more acknowledged success. And I know that there's people who say, the gold medal was controversial or whatever. It is what it is, right? He won the gold medal and Fury didn't. Now let's have a look at the pro fights. This is where Fury, of course, his win-loss record is better than AJ's. Fury had 37 pro fights. Has had 37 pro fights. And he's got 2 losses. And both those losses have been to Alexander Usyk. And there is no shame in losing to Alexander Usyk. It would be better if you admitted that you got beat by the better man. But fact remains, you got beat by a generational great. So, you can't sort of say anything about that. Excuse me, please. He went the distance twice, though, of course, people like me believe he was stomped in the first fight. But anyhow, he went the distance twice with Alexander Usyk, lost both times, no shame. Arguable losses, however. Some people think that when he fought against Otto Wallin, if it had been anybody else, that fight would have been stopped. Fury was very badly cut. However, Fury survived and won that fight. Francis Ngannou, arguably a loss. That was such a ridiculous fight. What do you say, right? You're a world champion and you fight a novice boxer, and the novice boxer drops you, and the novice boxer takes you on a life and death battle for the distance, and the judges give you the nod. Oh well, whoopie ding dong, you beat a novice boxer. If you go back a ways, a lot of people say that John McDermott beat Fury. What do you say, right? Let's have a look at the champions, who may not have been champions at the time, but at some point they've held a championship belt. The champions' names on Fury's record. So we've got Deontay Wilder. So let's be back up the bus. We've got Vladimir Klitschko first. Vlad was on the slide. Vlad was past his peak, but Vlad was still active, and going over to Germany to fight Vlad in his backyard, that's got to be Tyson's best moment, in my view. He looked the best. And he overcame a lot of, what's the right word? Chicanery, maybe, that, surrounded the whole Vlad thing, right? A lot of odds were stacked in Vlad's favor when Vlad fought. So Fury, credit to him, he went over there and he beat Vlad. Then, of course, he, after a period of time off, for a variety of different reasons, he came back, had a draw with Deontay Wilder, which most people think he won, and I would agree, I think he won. And then he comprehensively beat Wilder twice. So we've got Klitschko was a champion he beat, Wilder was a champion he beat, and he beat Wilder again. So would you call that 3 championship? Anyways, however you want to slice it, he beat the same man twice. And then when he fought Cunningham, I think Cunningham had been a cruiserweight champion, if I'm not certain. I could check. But anyways, Cunningham at some point had a belt. So, Vlad, let's be generous, Wilder twice, and Cunningham, that's 4 wins against people who've been champions. Or 3 if you want to be more strict about it. Let's have a look at AJ. Now, like we said, AJ has had 32 professional fights. He's lost 4 of them. Again, like I was saying about Fury, he lost 2 against Usyk. No shame. Went the distance both times. Was in trouble at the very end of, I think it was the first fight. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, you could sort of argue that he was close to being stopped. So it's kind of a wash, really, with Fury. I would say that he took on a slightly better, younger version, for sure, of Usyk. So it's hard to judge, right? I mean, I think over most of the rounds, I preferred what Joshua was doing against Usyk. But in the first fights in particular, rounds, what is it, 4, 5, 6, 7, Fury showed some sort of more dominance over Usyk. So they both lost twice to the same guy. Yeah, what is it? Maybe Fury's losses were a little bit better. Hard to say. Who else did AJ lose to? Well, he lost to Andy Ruiz, which was shocking, and arguably he never really recovered from that. He did come back to beat Ruiz, and then most recently he lost to Daniel Dubois. It was kind of a spectacular fashion, though as I mentioned in a previous video, if he'd had his left hand where it was supposed to be, he could have landed the big right one, could have gone the other way. Anyways, a loss is a loss. So, let's see. Champions that AJ beat. Charles Martin. By the way, this isn't going to read like a list of 1970s greats. So, if you're expecting that, I'm sorry to disappoint. Having said that, you can only fight the people in front of you, right? So he beat Charles Martin, he's beaten Dominic Brazil, he beat Pulev, he came back and beat Andy Ruiz, and he beat Vlad. Though Vlad by then was older than when Fury had fought him. More declined, I suppose. Not the right word, but anyways. So I would say that AJ's win against Vlad isn't quite as good as Fury's win against Vlad. But he's fought more people who had championships, names. And of course he lost to another world champion, Dubois. So, what do you think? I think that if they were both to close out their careers today, most objective boxing fans would truly say that, notwithstanding the awards, you know, Olympic champion, two-time unified, two-time world on Fury's part, lineal, probably both held the Ring magazine at some time. I think most people would say that neither have a spectacular resume. Like, you know, when you dig into it, it's not as good as it might look on first blush. But I think objectively, again, he's just taken that step back and you're looking at the people they fought. Most people, I think, would say that AJ's resume was a bit better than Fury's as of today. So if they don't fight ever, historians down the road, I think, would say, based on resume alone and based on who they fought and the condition of the people they fought when they fought them, AJ would be a little bit higher than Fury in that sort of list of past fighters. That's what I think, and I'd be really interested to know what you think. So please do leave a comment in the comment section of this video. And please like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to get to maybe 20 subscribers. Anyways, regardless of that, please have a fabulous day wherever you are in the world. And thanks very much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.